Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to my presentation on childhood obesity, specifically within inner cities. So I'd like to begin with the classification of what's considered to be obese. As you can see, childhood obesity is defined as a BMI at or above the 85% percentile and below the 95th percentile for children and teens of the same age and sex. So now a question to the community. It's very important that we monitor obesity, specifically with children. Children are a very susceptible and vulnerable population. And it's ultimately comes down to responsibility of the parents and those caregivers so that they can always help and allow these children to live in comfortable and healthy lives. So some of the effects of childhood obesity can be very crippling, not only in the immediate setting, but definitely in the long-term setting. And some of these things are going to be discussed in the following slides. So children are at risk of becoming obese largely because of their lack of independence. So parents play a huge role in how these children start to develop their own individual likings and some of the things that they will do as an adult. So that's why it's very important to start them off right. However, inner cities, because of many different situations, do have, especially specifically having to do with education, there is a lot of childhood obesity. And what happens? Now the question is, what happens to these children that do become obese, and what are some of those limiting health conditions? We can discuss these, specifically high blood pressure, problems like breathing, asthma, sleep apnea, joint problems, and musculoskeletal discomfort because of the excess weight, fatty liver disease, gallstones, and GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Those are some of the immediate consequences of becoming obese. Other long-term and more concerning problems can also occur, specifically when it comes to psychological, psychosocial. Obesity can lead to depression and anxiety. These children can be signaled out for bullying in schools, and they're often reporting lower self-esteem and lower self. They're often self-reporting a lower quality of life because of the social bullying and their lower self-esteem. And the long-term effects, something that we should definitely, as a community, pay attention to, especially within these inner cities, is long-term effects are type 2 diabetes, cancer, and heart disease. And overall, these preventable conditions, health conditions, will put a strain not only in the community, but in the sense of just the community and self-belonging, but also will put an economic and health strain on the community, ultimately lowering the quality of life of these individuals. So moving forward, prevention is very important. How can we prevent such conditions? As a society and individual units, there are many things that we can do. Specifically within inner cities, like big cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, we can encourage physical activity. Encouraging these children to participate in sports, participate in like soccer, baseball, volleyball. Team sports will not only help them with their social abilities, but also encourage, get their hearts racing and promote healthier lifestyles. As communities, we can create safer communities that support physical activity. Oftentimes, these lower income communities are subject to violent crimes and unsafe parks due to criminal activity and other things. Not necessarily this is not necessarily true in every community, but oftentimes within these specific communities, these safe environments dissuade individuals or children and families from participating in park activities and physical exercise. Limiting sedentary lifestyle today's age just can go on into a plethora and a whole different other topic. Children are in our society are often playing a lot of video games, often online, and living a sedentary lifestyle, and that can promote um, unhealthy lifestyle. And supporting healthy food and beverage choices, not only in the family but in the school setting and public school settings, this can definitely help the children understand the importance of making right choices when it comes to their food, so they can prevent a lot of the diseases that we can know that can occur. Ultimately, we want to prevent, but sometimes obesity does happen. Obesity is an incidence or a high incidence of obesity, particularly in children in inner cities. But there are different ways in which we can manage them, and those include limiting fast food, limiting sweet beverages, and when shopping, teaching the children to eat vegetables. Ultimately, it does take a community to raise children. It does take a town. However, it starts with the families and teaching families these principles of why it is that children should participate in sports, why they should stay active, and why they should make healthy food choices so that they ultimately have better health outcomes is important. So, my question to you guys is, to those watching, is what are some other suggestions that you have in terms of helping other different inner cities, encouraging children to become active and make healthier choices, ultimately lowering the incidence of childhood obesity? And why is that? And why should that be? And why is that important in those communities or in the nation or in the world for that matter? So those are things to ponder. And that concludes my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I thank you for being here with me. Thanks. Have a good one.